All right, good day, everyone. What I have pulled up here is the Supreme Court VR project assignment sheet, and I've highlighted a few things that I'm going to talk about in this video. The four objectives that you have here in regards to background of the case, biographical information on people involved in the case, arguments from both sides, and the case's legacy or impact of the decision. Are all going to require you to do research. And in our helpful tips, hopefully, section down here, you notice that Part B says research will take the most time, so start as soon as you can. So this video is intended to help you have that time be the most efficient as possible. And we're going to start, as we usually do with research, by going to our Wilson Library bookmark. And instead of going to the database landing page on the right here, if you go to the LibGuide grid that we have on that LibGuides button in the bottom left, the desk button, you will see there is a Supreme Court cases LibGuide right here. And this landing page will help you to just sort of look at generally these websites and these databases for background information on the case and the people, and then discussions of that case's legacy. And I'm going to take you through two of the databases right now, just so you can see the usability of them. One should look very familiar. It's our typical Gale database, and the other one is from a different company. So I just wanted to show you both of them and ways that their functionality can help you to do research at a very efficient level. So if I click on my Gale Middle School in Context link right here, if you're in the district and you're logged in, it will take you right to this screen. If not, and you're signed into your Google account, you might need to put in the password, which I have put down next to the database right there. So if you just put in the password Patriot, as long as you're logged into your Google account at home, you will be able to get to this screen right here. And the case I've chosen to look at here isn't on the main grid, but it's Gideon versus Wainwright from 1963, which is a landmark court decision involving being able to get representation if you're impoverished. So a very important case for how the court functions. And as I type in my court case here as a keyword, I see that it auto-completes. And I've got the sort of way in which I was started to type it in as just a V with no period, and Wainwright and Gideon, even though they're both proper nouns, they are not capitalized here. But then I have an autocomplete that comes down and is capitalized with that period. I've got the case number and the year as well. If I click on this is going to sort by subject heading, and that's going to be a really important piece of what I need to do. So my keyword has been put in, and I can see that I have enough sources to go on for one of the four things that I need to do. So I can get some background here from my reference source. Reference sources are things like dictionaries and encyclopedias that provide basic background. Audio is going to be stuff that has typically been on the radio, and that's going to be a little bit beyond a reference source and into some more maybe editorializing, or it will bring up to date, as this article seems to do. It'll bring up to date what the court case is doing now. And then magazines are where you're going to find things like the impact or, again, what the court has sort of been doing since that Gideon versus Wainwright has affected. So I have, about 5 things to choose from up here. And just for the sake of example, I'm going to click into this article and show you that I get my personages. Those are the people that I need to find background information for as part of this project. I get a nice summary of the event. And I have other things that will help me out. This is the sources that were used in this article, but this article itself being used as a source, I can have right down here. So the final thing I'll show for this article is that if I take something like this sentence here that kind of explains exactly what it was, and I highlight it using this Gale usability kind of window that opens up. In Gideon versus Wainwright, the court ruled that states are constitutionally required to provide counsel for indigent defendants in trials before state judges, and in a number of subsequent decisions handed down from 63 through 66, the court held that the counsel had to be provided at various critical stages of the investigation process. So indigent essentially means people who are poor and can't afford their own counsel, and subsequent means in following cases, they've made sure that this counsel was provided at critical times, meaning somebody who had been needing to go to court and charged with a felony, like the person in this case was, they need to have that counsel provided. So I can I can define words, but I can also put notes in here. So if I want to make sure that indigent means impoverished and subsequent means happening after. Doing a bad job spelling things in here, but that's okay. It's just a rough draft. And I hit save. What I can do is send this to my Google Drive. And it will ask me to sign in. And if you've never done this before, it will also ask you to allow the connectivity there. But when I go into my Google Drive, I have a new folder, and that folder will be orange. And when I jump into that folder, I will have my Gideon versus Wainwright I will have my Gideon versus Wainwright article that I just read, and I've got my highlights here. But importantly, right below where the source citation would appear, I have those highlighted passages. So the Gale databases are really helpful for having the source citation already done for you, giving you this usability with the passages and being able to understand those things. And it's just going to be all around one of the best things that you can use for that. The other one that I'll show you just looks a little bit different. The ABC Clio database functions a little bit differently. You'll need to log in and make sure you're using the username and password that are, again, provided right under there. Mine auto-completes because I go to these databases a lot. And you're the Wilson Middle School, not the high school. It doesn't really make a difference. You all get the same things. And you can put in, again, your Gideon versus Wainwright and do a search, and you'll get a different level of things. So this actually has 35 results, where my last one only had 5 results. So after you've exhausted the resources of one database, going to a second one to see what some maybe other connected cases are to this will help you with that idea of it being the case's legacy. And also sort of general articles on things like defendant rights or due process might be good for expanding your understanding of what this case means to American legal history. So as always, if you have any questions, you are welcome to come to the library and ask me any questions about your case. We can find you some good articles that will work. But everything you should need will be right here on the LibGuide. Thank you.